everyone. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here, you have not already, please consider subscribing and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today, we're going to be talking about batch work and block scheduling. These are two things I talk about on this channel a lot, and then I get asked a lot of questions on how to do the batch work and the block scheduling. It's really a super simple concept. So batch work is doing all alike tasks together. So doing all of your photographs, then doing all of your listing, not taking one item, photographing it, and then listing it, and then doing another item. You want to take all your photos, then do all your listings. You want to do all your thrifting at once. And you want to do all alike items. So that's how simple batch work is. You want to do all your thrifting, then all your prep work, then all your photographs, all your listing, and you want to keep all your alike items together. So your prep for your photographs is going to look differently depending on what you source and what you list. For me, it's just washing and drying the clothes. And then if it's jeans, I do all the measurements, then I do all the photos. So I don't measure a pair of jeans and then photograph that pair of jeans. I measure a whole stack and then photograph that whole stack as another part of my batch work. For my plushies, there's really not any prep. Sometimes they need lip rolled or spot treated. I use Awesome from the Dollar Tree and a little Tide pen. And so I kind of do that as I photograph because it doesn't really come across that often. But if you have sneakers that need cleaned, shoes that need repaired or taken care of, you want to grab a whole batch of them and do all of that first, then take all the photos, then do all the listing. If you do video games and you like check them for scratches, check a whole stack of them first and then do your photos. You see what I'm saying here? If you do electronics, test them, then photograph them. As far as like the plushies that sing and talk or the electronic musical plush, I save those up also. So I have a big box, and when I come across plush that sing or talk, animatronic in any way, they go in this big box. When that box is full completely, then I will sit down with a couple of screwdrivers, a couple of packs of batteries, AA, AAA, and I will open each animal's battery compartment, check for corrosion. You can get rid of that with 70% isopropyl alcohol. And then I'll put batteries in and test each one. And then once I've tested them all, I'll have two piles of these didn't work, these did. I can do the photos. I can change my template. List Perfectly, I take my photos right into List Perfectly. And you could set a default template when you're taking those pictures. So I can change my plush template to tested doesn't work and tested does work as I'm working through each pile. So just think of batch work as one task at a time, but all alike. So you wouldn't, I hope you wouldn't, because it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm very type A personality. But would you vacuum your whole first floor and then mop your whole first floor? Or would you go and vacuum the living room and mop the living room and then move to the kitchen? I think most people think I'm going to sweep the whole house and then I'm going to mop it. If you are doing laundry, clearly you're going to be doing, your load of towels and then your load of clothes. You're going to wash it and then dry it. So just everything in life should make that much sense. All one task, all one item. And that's batching. It's as simple as that. Now, taking that batch work and making block schedules is easy once you get the batch work down. And it sounds like it's common sense, but when you're new to reselling, it may not be. It may make more sense to you. I'm going to clean this one pair of shoes and then photograph it and then list it, but you're really, really wasting time. When you get into a rhythm of the batch work, you are maximizing your time and you're going to be more productive and get more done. And then you want to block schedule these tasks, these batch tasks that you're going to do. You have to figure out your personality before you figure out how you're going to block schedule. So for me, I'm very type A personality. I am diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, and I like things to be very routine, very much the same. And I like to focus on one thing at a time, and I can hyper focus. So I block schedule by day. So all day Thursday, I may be taking photos, or maybe all morning I'm measuring and all afternoon I'm taking photos. And I'm fine with that because I can hyper focus on something for 4 to 8 hours and just do the same thing all day. Not everyone is like that. If you have ADHD or ADD, you probably find it harder to focus on one task for that long of a period of time, and you probably can't hyper focus. And being hyper focused on things is not always a good thing, trust me. I just learned how to take my faults and make them my strength. So knowing that I have to hyper focus and that I like a stringent, strict routine, I've created a work schedule and a process for me that works into my faults and has actually made them strengths. So if you have a hard time focusing and you have a hard time with attention on things, make that your strength and do your block scheduling in little chunks of time. So you wouldn't spend an entire day photographing because that's not for you. That's not your personality. You would lose focus and space out. So how would you work best? Maybe each day you spend an hour on a task or 2 hours, whatever your maximum attention span is. And I'm not saying either one of these is wrong or right. Everyone has different personalities, different mental issues, anxiety, whatever you're dealing with. You just have to take those and make them your strength. So if you have a hard time with attention, maybe for an hour each day you photograph, and then you go list for an hour, and then you do prep work for an hour, and then maybe you go sourcing. Can you do 2 hours? But basically block scheduling or blocking is just taking chunks of time or whole days in my case and saying, this is when I'm going to do this. So for me, each day is a different activity or a different part of my job. And I do that pretty much all day. And for some people, it's going to look like each day you're going to do the same 8 things, but each one for an hour, or the same 4 things, but each one for 2 hours. So you just have to figure out how you work best. And it's not wrong or right. You are really just creating a schedule for yourself that you know is going to work. You're setting yourself up for success. So don't set yourself up to fail, and don't compare yourself to other people. I talked about that in yesterday's video. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just because I can hyper focus and do photos for 8 hours a day doesn't mean you can. But just because you can jump around and do 2-hour blocks on things doesn't mean I can. You have to find what works for you and apply it. But I highly recommend the batch work, regardless of how you block schedule it, because you really will see a difference. When you are just doing one task repetitively for an hour, 2 hours, all day, whatever, you're going to do it much faster. You're going to be more productive than jumping around. And it goes with the types of items too. You want to do all jeans. You want to do all sneakers. You don't want to do a mug and then a pair of jeans and then a plush. That's a doll, but you get the idea. You want to focus on one type of item and one task, and then you want to schedule that in blocks, however it's going to work for you. If this is your full-time job, remember, this is your full-time job. You should be working 8 hours a day, however that looks like to you. And I do know that a lot of people say, well, how do you focus for 8 hours a day? How do you work for 8 hours a day? Didn't you used to work outside of the house? I mean, we all used to have jobs where you had to work when you were supposed to work, or you lost your job or didn't get paid. It's the same with reselling. If you're not putting the work in, if you're not doing the listings and the photographs and all the prep that goes into those listings, you're not going to make the sales and you're not going to make the money. And I don't know how anybody can say this is their full-time job and not put in 8 hours a day and not put the work in and not get the money and be okay with that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below. And if you want me to go into more detail about block scheduling, I can. We're going to be doing a bullet journal series on here in the month of December, getting ready for next year. So we can talk more about that. I don't really think there's much more to say about batch work. Batch work is batch work. But, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Go be productive. Go make some money. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.